Coming up on Arirang News. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol continues with his series of back-to-back summits with his counterparts on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, meeting 10 more world leaders on Thursday alone, ramping up more support for Busan's bid to host the World Expo 2030. U.S. President Joe Biden pledges a new military aid package for Ukraine, expected to be worth around $325 million as he welcomes President Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House. But it doesn't include the Army tactical missile system, which President Zelensky had in mind. Thousands of athletes from across Asia gather in the Chinese city of Hangzhou as the biggest ever Asian sports event kicks off on Saturday. Tonight, we go to Hangzhou and see what's it like over there.
Good evening, it's 9 p.m. here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us on Arirang News. We start in New York, where President Yoon Suk-yeol will wrap up his visit in a few hours after 5 days packed with summits to drum up support for Busan's bid to host the World Expo in 2030. During these meetings, he also looked at each country he met to see how he can enhance cooperation, especially when it comes to the economy. For more, we connect to our Kim Do-yeon, who is traveling with the president. Do-yeon, so exactly how many countries did President Yoon meet?
Ji-young, good evening to you. As you said, I'm here in New York. S2 is President Yoon, who will have met with 41 leaders by the time he departs back to South Korea. Now, he will be having lunch with the leaders of Pacific Island and boarding right after that to the plane. So he's really showing his motivation to not waste any minute of his stay here in New York. And the meetings have been diverse, including countries of all continents and of all economic sizes. Starting with Sri Lanka, he proceeded to meet with leaders from countries as the Czech Republic, Ecuador and Ghana, to name a few. Last night, he had dinner with the CARICOM leaders, allowing him to engage with multiple leaders simultaneously. President Yoon conveyed that the Busan Expo emphasizes solidarity over competition, differing from events like the World Cup or the Olympics, both events that Korea has already hosted. The Expo aims to bridge global disparities by sharing advancements in science and industry, laying the groundwork for global peace and sustainable prosperity. This aligns, of course, with his UN General Assembly speech outlining plans to bridge divisions between developed and developing nations. No promises are made, of course, by these countries about their vote at the BIE in November, but take a listen to what the top office had to say a couple days ago.
While some countries publicly state their positions, the majority approach voting without formal declarations. Therefore, engaging in face-to-face bilateral meetings to openly exchange opinions and mutually understand intentions while deriving cooperative solutions is a highly effective approach.
Now, Do-yeon, while President Yoon is asking for support for Busan, he does have to go into these meetings understanding the bilateral relations with the other nation. In fact, he doesn't just talk about the Busan Expo, he uses it on occasion to enhance bilateral cooperation.
You're exactly right, Ji-young. These meetings are, of course, not hours long because of the number of meetings that he has every day. But he does go in, like you said, with a complete understanding of bilateral relations because he wants to enhance cooperation with each of the countries going forward, especially in the economy. Take a listen to what the top office had to say about this.
During the United Nations General Assembly, we selected countries from the 189 BIE members to meet that could further enhance cooperation through the Busan Expo.
For example, with Ecuador on Thursday, he and his counterpart Guillermo Lasso acknowledged the significance of more than 60 years of formal diplomatic ties. The two countries are also in negotiations for a strategic economic cooperation agreement, and President Yoon shared that he was happy that an agreement between the two will be on the way soon. There are also 9 countries President Yoon met during this trip that South Korea has never had a summit with. This includes North Macedonia and Nepal. So all in all, this trip hopefully boosted Busan's World Expo bid will really enlarge South Korea's presence around the world. Back to you, Jiyoung.
Right, Doyeon, thank you. That was our presidential correspondent, Kim Doyeon, reporting live from New York. And also in New York, President Yoon highlights the need to establish a global digital order as he aims for South Korea to take the lead in bridging the digital divide between countries. For this, speaking at the Digital World Forum, he declared the New York Initiative, calling for technology to be developed and used to protect dignity and freedom. Correspondent Oh Soo-young reports from New York.
President Yoon Suk-yeol has declared a digital Bill of Rights in New York and aligned with the United States as a value-based partner in the future of artificial intelligence amid the polarizing impact of digitalization and the global race for technological supremacy. The South Korean leader on Thursday spoke at New York University's Digital Vision Forum for a second straight year, where he set out 5 guiding principles for the so-called New York Initiative to serve as a compass to navigate the era of deepening digitalization.
디지털 격차가 인간의 존엄을 훼손하거나 또 늘어나는 가짜 뉴스가 민주주의와 자유를 위협하지 않을지 걱정의 목소리도 커지고 있습니다. 이처럼 디지털 심화로 나타나는 실존적 위험은 이제 더 이상 미룰 수 없는 시급한 문제입니다. 디지털은 국경이 없고 연결성과 즉시성을 가지고 있습니다. 그러기에 국제적으로 통용되는 보편적 질서가 중요합니다.
The principles call for technology to be developed and used to expand the dignity, value, freedom and rights of individuals, rather than reinforce discrimination and prejudice. Yoon said fair access and opportunity for digital use must be guaranteed to create economic and social value, while preventing individual harm and the spread of disinformation. He further called for investment in research and development, talent pools and regulatory changes to enable innovation that drives prosperity for humanity. Lastly, Yoon reissued this call made at recent global summits and at the UN General Assembly the previous day for multilateral efforts to close the digital divide between the advanced and developing economies to ensure peace and shared prosperity in the world. The government plans to announce the Bill of Rights and encourage major partner countries and international organizations to adopt the principles. South Korea's push to establish an ethical, rules-based digital order is all the more crucial as major economies vie for influence over global norms and standards, according to Choi Sang-mok, Yoon's senior economic secretary. In that regard, as Seoul expands its value-based cooperation with Washington, Yoon also signed a Memorandum of Understanding with NYU to jointly develop world-class artificial intelligence with 3 Korean institutes. Korea and the US will each invest some $45 billion over 5 years.
The partnership indicates that we have set out the path for cooperation across the entire business process in AI, from human resources training to research and development to market commercialization. In short, the foundation for solidarity in AI has been established between Korea and the US.
Going forward, President Yoon said South Korea will play its part in establishing global digital norms and striving for digital innovation in collaboration with the world to maximize freedom and welfare for all of humanity. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News, New York.
U.S. President Joe Biden pledges a new military aid package for Ukraine, expected to be worth around millions of dollars, as he welcomes President Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House. But Zelensky's visit to the U.S. Capitol comes amid skepticism among some Republicans. Our Choi Soo-hyung explains more.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Thursday, following his meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House, announced a $325 million additional military package to Ukraine.
Today, I approve the next tranche of U.S. security assistance to Ukraine, including more artillery, more ammunition, more anti-tank weapons, and
the support package includes various military items like anti-aircraft missiles, shells, anti-tank weapons, cluster munitions, and the Abrams M1 tank. But it excludes the Army Tactical Missile Systems, or ATACMS, which President Zelensky had anticipated due to its range of over 300 kilometers. Ukraine's counter-offensive since June has been hindered by dense Russian defenses, including tank barriers called Dragon's Teeth. And as the war continues, the debate over supporting Ukraine has grown contentious within the U.S. In the U.S., public opinion is cooling over time, and the political response is also gradually becoming divided. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy declined President Zelensky's request for a congressional speech this year, something that Zelensky had asked for during private discussions on the proper use of U.S. weapons.
I raised issues with them. We're very concerned about accountability. It's to rebuild the supply chain and the weapons for America, because we put them in there. I was asking about where we are on the battlefield, different plans, what we're seeing.
However, the White House reiterated its unwavering support to provide additional military assistance.
I know people were talking about how much money and how much is being spent. And what I took away from this whole meeting was what we're investing. We're investing in democracy. And if we don't do it, the rest of the world won't follow, and our allies.
Furthermore, concerns have risen that the absence of ATACMS missiles may push Ukraine to seek even stronger weapons to attack Russian territory, potentially escalating to conflict between the West and Russia. President Zelensky, in his recent speech in Washington, emphasized that without ongoing military and economic support from both the U.S. Senate and House, Ukraine may face defeat. Choi Soo-hyung, Arirang News.
On the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York, South Korea's Foreign Minister Park Jin met with Japan's new Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa. Park told his new counterpart that he hopes the two countries can communicate closely to continue to develop their bilateral relationship in a positive way. They also agreed to work on creating a trilateral consultative body involving China with the goal to hold a trilateral summit between the leaders by the end of this year. Kamikawa was appointed as Japan's new foreign minister last week, becoming Japan's first female foreign minister in about 2 decades. South Korea's Unification Minister has called for stronger cooperation with the U.S. amid rising concerns about a possible weapons deal between North Korea and Russia. Minister Kim Young-ho met with U.S. Ambassador Philip Goldberg in Seoul on Friday, and when talking about Russia, he pointed out that it's unprecedented for a permanent member of the UN Security Council to invade a neighboring country. Kim stressed that the North is trying to take advantage of the situation and support Russia with weapons. Goldberg also expressed deep concerns about North Korea spending its time and resources on building weapons of mass destruction rather than feeding its people. The U.S. has reportedly finalized guardrails that'll limit the expansion standards of chip manufacturing in China under its Chips and Science Act to the current capacity, 5%. The Biden administration says this is to advance America's technology and national security. According to Bloomberg and other media outlets on Friday, a recipient of the CHIPS Incentives Program has to fully return U.S. funding if it invests in semiconductor manufacturing in China beyond that 5% capacity for cutting-edge chips and 10% for legacy chips. The regulations also limit recipients from investing in the expansion of semiconductor production capacity in foreign countries of concern, such as China, Russia, and North Korea. Earlier, the South Korean government had requested that U.S. doubles the expansion standard from 5% to 10% after the outlines were revealed back in March. Following the passage of a motion yesterday seeking to arrest the nation's main opposition Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung over corruption charges, seems to be fueling more division within the DP, with the party's floor leader resigning over the result. Lee, who's facing a warrant review next week, says he'll continue fighting. Our political correspondent Kim Jung-sil reports.
A deep sense of regret, resentment, and shock has engulfed the main opposition party after lawmakers on Thursday passed a consent to arrest motion against its leader Lee Jae-myung on corruption allegations. Lee, who is hospitalized following a weeks-long hunger strike to protest the Yoon administration, released a written statement on Friday. He said the Democratic Party must continue to fight the tyranny and regression of Yoon's government to protect the people's livelihood and democracy. Lee added that the DP will continue to work hard and move forward. He did not, however, address the arrest warrant review process scheduled for next week. Experts said due to Lee's deteriorating health, the review could be delayed. If he does make a court appearance, he will be questioned by a judge who will decide whether to issue a warrant. After Thursday's vote, DP floor leader Park Kwang-won and Party Secretary General Cho Jung-sik resigned immediately. During a closed general meeting after the vote, one lawmaker reportedly said they would leave the party, while some admitted to voting in favor of the motion. The 30 or so lawmakers known as the anti-Lee Jae-myung bloc claimed the party leader should keep his promise about facing the prosecution. Back in June, Lee said he would forfeit the privilege from arrest that lawmakers have while the National Assembly is in session. Ruling People Power Party senior spokesperson Yoo Sang-bom said on Friday that this bulletproof political act should be removed, adding the DP leader must humbly submit to the court's judgment. The same day, the opposition announced it would hold an election for a new floor leader next Tuesday. But with lawmakers suffering from feelings of division and betrayal, it will be tough for the next floor leader to unite the party. Kim Jung-sil, Arirang News.
It's a huge event for billions of sports fans in Asia. Thousands of athletes from across the Asia gather in the Chinese city of Hangzhou as the biggest ever Asian sports event kicks off tomorrow. Our Song Yujin reports what it's like over there in Hangzhou.
Just one day until Asia's biggest sports event kicks off. Though it rained all day, it was not enough to dampen the excitement towards the 19th Asian Games in Hangzhou. So our team has been here in Hangzhou since Wednesday, and I can definitely say that the excitement has been building. So here, starting from the airport, from buildings, public transport, and streets, they're plastered with the Hangzhou Asian Games logo. Everyone, including Team Korea and the locals, are ready for the Games to officially begin.
Our athletes have worked ever so hard to prepare for the Games. I hope they give it their all so that their hard work pays off. I wish those at home give unwavering support to our athletes.
It's definitely not easy to host the Asian Games in Hangzhou, so we're very proud. I hope everyone will come and participate in this wonderful event.
The number of participating athletes is bigger than the 2020 Tokyo Olympics by 1,000. Around 12,000 athletes from 45 national Olympic committees will compete in Hangzhou, the most for any Asian Games ever. Also drawing attention is the participation of North Korea. Some 20 North Korean athletes attended a welcoming ceremony alongside Brunei, Cambodia, Palestine, Taiwan, and Thailand at the Asian Games Village on Friday morning. According to the Hangzhou Asian Games Organizing Committee, 185 North Korean athletes will compete in the Games. This is the first international multi-sport event that North Korea is taking part in since the 2018 Asian Games in Jakarta.
I was excited to see North Korean athletes and coaches who I met before at past competitions. When we saw each other, they warmly say hi, so it was a great start to my stay in Hangzhou.
The opening ceremony will take place at the Hangzhou Olympic Sports Center Stadium on Saturday at 8 p.m. China time or 9 p.m. in Korea. Fencer Gu Bon-gil and swimmer Kim So-young will be the flag bearers for Korea. South Korea's Prime Minister Han Duk-soo and Vice Culture Minister Chang Mi-ran, who was also an athlete herself, will attend. Song Yujin, Arirang News, Hangzhou.
Also in Hangzhou, South Korea's men's football team picked up a 4-0 win over Thailand on Thursday in what was the team's second Group E match. Led by coach Hwang Sun-hong, Korea scored all 4 goals in the first half and have now qualified for the knockouts with one match still to play. Hong Yan-seok scored the first goal in the 15th minute and An Jae-jun doubled Korea's lead just 5 minutes later. Won-sang and Lee Jae-myung added 1 goal each before the halftime interval. South Korea won their first group stage match 9-0 on Tuesday, beating Kuwait. Up next is Bahrain on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Korea time. BTS's member Jungkook has been selected as one of 25 musicians who undeniably donated the year in music and culture. U.S. entertainment magazine The Hollywood Reporter on Wednesday published its inaugural Platinum Players Power List. The list honors 25 artists from Beyoncé to Taylor Swift who are on top of the charts, moved the needle on culture, set records, performed for thousands or millions on tour, and who are overall have defined the year in the music industry. Jungkook is the only K-pop artist on the list. Meanwhile, BTS's Suga starts his military service today. He'll return to the band by the year 2025 along with two other members who are performing their obligatory service, J-Hope and Jin. Today, traditional Korean houses, Hanok, have evolved beyond just being residential spaces. And there's a special week in capital Seoul during which you can enjoy the beauty of these houses mingled with the autumn scenery. Our Yoon takes us to the very first Seoul Hanok Week.
Korea's traditional houses, or Hanok, invite people beyond their walls, revealing their beautiful appearance. Seoul Metropolitan Government is for the first time hosting a 2023 Seoul Hanok Week from September 18th to the 27th in Bukchon, Seochon, and Inpyeong Hanok Village. The Hanok Week will feature exhibitions, performances, and experiential and educational events that would allow visitors to enjoy the capital's Hanok in different ways.
Seoul's Hanok are considered part of the city's identity and valuable assets that have continued to evolve in response to new demands.
Hanok are not always open to the general public. On the 24th, Open House Hanok is scheduled to offer tours of 9 Hanok. This house is called Hwigyamje. Built in traditional way, it has a history of more than 120 years in Bukchon Hanok village. It was designated Seoul Folk Culture Property number 14 in March 1977. Hwigyamje stylistically belongs to the early period following Japanese occupation. It shows how aspects of the Western lifestyle of that time were introduced into a traditional Korean house. Although the underfloor heating, grid-patterned floors, frame, roof, and floral decorations are all of the traditional style. Another Hanok that is open to the public is Yangnyu-dang. This Hanok earned second place in the 2012 National Hanok Competition, with its harmonization of traditional values and modern architectural aspects.
These days, when it comes to Hanok, many people tend to think of them as just for Hanok's Day. Here, in addition to accommodation, exhibitions are also held. We've designed spaces where you can both appreciate art and take a break while enjoying the space.
Chitta Pavilion, named after the Korean word for to build, is hosting music concerts on the evenings of September 22nd to the 24th. Passing through the bamboo grove at the entrance, visitors will see a round yard with kudir, which are old floor heating stones.
It's so close to the buzzing city, but when you're inside, it feels a lot quieter, peaceful. Really calm, and there's also the smell of the timber.
Yeah, no, but with the plants, it can create a natural shelter.
Director Kim added that the organizers hope Hanok will become cultural content that transcend time, space, and generations, and something that people from all over the world can seek out and enjoy. Lee Jae-myung, Arirang News.
Autumn-like conditions will prevail for this weekend. Overall readings will get a touch breezier, but wide temperature gaps will continue. Morning lows will hover around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius for this weekend, while daytime highs will be hiking up to 27 degrees. Drastic fluctuation in temperatures can make our bodies more vulnerable to viruses, so please take extra care of your health. In between tomorrow evening and Sunday morning, Gangwon-do province will see light showers. Also, gusty winds are set to sweep across coastal regions tomorrow. The south coast and the coastlines of Jeju Island in particular will see strong winds. High waves are also expected, which could create dangerous conditions for those fishing or boating. Inland regions will see clear skies for the morning hours. Seoul will be starting off at 17 degrees. And daytime highs in Seoul and Chuncheon will get up to 27, Gwangju 28, Daegu and Gyeongju will be reaching 26 degrees. Partly cloudy skies will continue to prevail for next week. Next Wednesday, central regions will see showers. That's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
Well, that is all for this Friday night newscast. Thank you for watching. Hope everyone has a great weekend and a good night.